You're most welcome to Smart 24 Television. This is the business edition. My name is Pedison Mumbere. In today's edition, we are going to discuss the stories that made the headlines in our weekly bulletin. One of them is the land cases backlog that has led to over 3 trillion held in the land division here in our country. And if that money is not in the circulation, you know what it means by our economic growth. It will have a lot of effect on our economic development. I'll be right back after this commercial break. Don't stay away. This is the business edition starting now. You're welcome once again. This is the Smart 24 Television. My name is Pedison Mumbere and this is the business edition. And in our very own story here, we're going to discuss the case backlogs that is still remaining a very big challenge in our country here. According to the communications officer from the judiciary, if you go to the land commissions, over 3 trillion is being held there because of the land case disputes or land case conflicts that are there. And economically, if this money is not in circulation, you know what it can cause in as far as our development is concerned. Let us have more of the story that was done over the weekend at the Uganda Media Center.
According to the annual judiciary report for 2022, there are 168,007 outstanding cases and 50,592 open cases, or a backlog of 30.11%. However, they are fighting tooth and nail to minimize case backlogs, according to James Karimani, the Judiciary Communications Officer, who estimated over 3 trillion is stuck in the land division alone that comes along with land disputes.
Backlog, of course, in that land division, and the backlog of those cases are holding monies which would be released to the economy, and it would be boosting our economy. It is estimated that in the land division, if you calculate all the matters that are there, it can be up to around 3 trillion being held up there in the disputes that are in court. Someone bought land, was a lot of money, and before he could do anything, a conflict arose, and therefore his money is held there. He cannot develop the land, and that money is held there.
Remember, we have been having challenges with courts of law. Cases take long to be disposed of. Remember, these are matters that touch the vulnerable, the most vulnerable. So if a case takes 15, 20 years before being determined.
It is important to note that land is not registered under customary land tenure. This causes a lot of issues because there is no concrete proof of ownership. Judith Nabakova, the Minister of Land, argued Ugandans to register their land, noting that the government would do it for free in accordance with the President's mandate because doing a land survey would be too expensive. This will assist in addressing those who exploit the backlog of cases to confiscate other people's land.
Land cases. And some of the people use it as a trick. If somebody has money, we'll take you to court, and they will know that it will take years and years for justice to be delivered. Meanwhile, for the poor person, they are suffering.
Of course, we have come up with various innovations also as a Judiciary Uganda. We have mediation. Mediation has resolved so many cases in a short time and saving money that would have been involved in handling those cases. We do promote mediation because a case which would have taken 4 years can be resolved in 2 months.
During the IGAD Land Governance Program 11th Steering Committee meeting, which was held from the 1st and 2nd of June 2022, it was agreed that Uganda hosts the Conference on Land and Conflict through the ministry which is responsible for land.
Uganda, a member of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, will hold a conference on land and conflict to learn how other IGAD members are resolving land issues.
One of the ways is what is going to happen during that Justice Week. Bringing those judges and magistrates together, discussing, comparing notes with other regional courts. How are they managing in their countries?
The Chief Justice, Alfonso Owinidoro, revealed that 7 trillion is blocked in the commercial and land divisions of High Court due to the shortage of judges to hear cases during the launch of the Judiciary Annual Performance Report of Financial Year 2021-2022. With the increasing case backlog, the judicial community has organized a conference on land and conflict from the 24th to the 28th of this month, where they will learn from their partners how to resolve these issues. Martha Nimsima, Smart 24 TV.
Yeah, that's all about the case backlogs. The case backlogs, it means cases delayed to be heard in the courts of law. According to James Karimani, the communications officer from the judiciary, all these cases that are held up in the land division are making a loss of up to 3 trillion, and this money, if not in the circulation, it will affect our economic growth. So it's very crucial or prudent to make sure that all these cases are heard. He even made another point that you find that an investor will come to our country here in Uganda and he buys off a land where he's going to put a very big factory, only to realize that that land has disputes or conflicts. And remember, that investment already will have got affected and development will not go on. And this is how big case backlogs affects the development or the economic growth of any country like Uganda. Getting into another story here, the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Works has released 134 billion in this quarter financial year 2022-23, and this money is responsible for road maintenance, and this money was supplied in different departments. UNRA got 4 billion, KCCA and got 30 billion, and all this money is going to make sure that our roads in Kampala are well constructed and maintained. Desire Nambiru had more of these details. Let us listen from her.
The general public has been gripping about the bad roads that prevent people from taking care of their businesses and other growth plans, as well as the insistence of the districts that hire service providers to perform road maintenance tasks in violation of predetermined standards. The government donated the road maintenance equipment to facilitate the road work programs. Thus, all districts are required to abide by the new rules.
We have decided that this is going to be the way we are going to do business, to avoid the gray areas where people say we have not got money, when the district has got money. Even if you got 10 million, show what the 10 million has done, and then we shall be able to be accountable to you and members of the society. I also want to bring this up, and so that you know, every district has a district road committee, and the chairperson of that district road committee is the member of parliament. So members of here, I can see some people are surprised to know that members of parliament are members of the district road committee. So they are supposed to sit with this committee. First of all, the district submits annually to Engineer Naimanya their work plan. What are they going to do? Which roads are they going to address? What culverts are they going to fix? Blah, 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 and how much money?
Naimanya Andrew, the Executive Director of Uganda Road Fund, has pleaded with all parties involved to refrain from abusing the money that has been made available and to ensure that all utility companies are aware that all the contracted roads are repaired on schedule.
Humble request to district road committees to ensure that the funds are utilized as per the agreed work plans. Also, my humble request to the utility companies. Someone shared with me a bill of about 7 million shillings for a car to be repaired, simply because of a utility company that has dug up the roads in KCCA in Kampala here and have not repaired them. So this is a bill that a road user is facing, simply because utility companies are not covering when they dig up our roads. So the money is limited. Please, I humble request utility companies, please don't dig up our roads and then you damage the vehicles.
As one of the stakeholders, KCCA has received funding as well. According to David Luyembaze, the Deputy Executive Director of KCCA, the roads in the worst condition should be fixed before the others.
To announce that we've received about 4 billion shillings from the road fund for this coming quarter. And we're going to focus on roads in the Kololo areas, Kiembe Lane, Chitezi Road, Kampala Road, and Bombo Road. But maybe as a matter of caution, I want to inform you, KC has a network of about 2,100 kilometers, of which 600 kilometers are paved. But 60% of that network is beyond what a maintenance intervention can cause an improvement. So don't expect much change in the condition of the road network in Kampala, because much of it is beyond repair. And we are focusing on trying to mobilize resources to reconstruct, revamp this network. And in that effort, again, we've received about $288 million from African Development Bank to reconstruct, rehabilitate about 69 kilometers of roads in Kampala.
134 billion Uganda shillings has been released to maintain, to construct and reconstruct all roads in the country. This money has been distributed amongst all stakeholders, that is, UNRA, KCCA, districts and sub-counties. All this has come after all roads being destroyed by the heavy rains falling. Desire Nambiru, Smart 24 TV.
You see, better road construction makes business very easy. If you can transport your products, sales yourselves and products from here to other districts or from here to other districts to the north, then that means business is going on very well. So infrastructure has a very big impact on the business growth in every country, not only in Uganda here. So if this money has been released over 134 billion in the road construction, it will ease the business environment in the country, and this will lead to a better contribution to the country's GDP. Getting to another story here, we're getting to the exhibition that is set to be in Nairobi. Kenya and Uganda is going to be together in that exhibition that is looking forward to maximizing tourism in both countries. Remember, Kenya is the best country here. Kenya is one of the African countries that are doing well in as far as the enhancement of tourism is concerned. So we all hope that if this exhibition between the two countries and Uganda will be getting some of the highlights and how they are handling, Ugandans will learn how Kenyans are handling their tourism sector, and we see how we can also as well enhance ours and put it to another level. Our reporter had a lot of details for us. Let us hear from him. Uganda is endowed with safaris, rich cultural and historical heritage, a variety of attractions of flora and fauna, including the mountain gorillas, tree-climbing lions, and 1,063 bird species in the national parks across the country. Tourism arrivals in Uganda in 2021 stood at 512,945. Out of these, 325,387 were from Kenya, which translates to 63.63% of all arrivals in the country. The President of Uganda Tourism Association, Herbert Byaruhanga, says that there is a need to promote domestic tourism, and government of Uganda has introduced tourism courses in schools to boost it.
So what we are doing now is to make sure that we involve many people, and thanks to the government for even introducing tourism courses in schools. We have people now are being trained. Tourism is becoming a subject so that people appreciate it from the young stage. You know, when you learn something, when you're still tender, you're able to do it.
According to State Minister for Foreign Affairs Okello Oryem, reveals some of the opportunities so much to offer in terms of trade at tourism conference, exhibition and farm trip between two countries.
There is so much to offer. There is so much that is positive between these two countries in terms of tourism, in terms of trade, that can be exploited. It's a question of us just putting our heads together. And such initiative is very, very positive. Let us not wait. You know, this issue of waiting for Bazungu to come and tell us what to do or how to do it. I think the time has reached where it should stop. Almost every one of us are educated. Every one of us, even if they're not educated, they're intelligent. Every one of us know what is good and what is bad. So, when what is good for us, We know what is good for us better than Bazungu know what is better for us.
Private Sector Foundation Uganda PSFU Stephen Asimwe says that the government of Uganda is going well in marketing perspective as far goes to regional tourism and dealing with issues of standards and working with Uganda Revenue Authority in terms of compliance. And they have a principle to exhibit as the East African community under the banner of Borderless.
From 2016 to date, all our international exhibitions, especially the big ones, WTM in London, the Berlin one, ITB in Berlin, CITM in China, JATA in Japan, Indaba in South Africa, in Nairobi you just came back from Magical Kenya, Kwita Izina in Rwanda. All of those, now we have a principle to exhibit as East African community under the banner of Borderless Borders.
The global tourism expressed a mild 4% upturn in 2021, with 15 million more international tourist arrivals, thus overnight visitors, than in 2020, but remained 72% below the level of pre-pandemic year in 2019. That's according to the primary estimates. Tourism being a key sector in all economies of the East African community, a big contributor to the GDP through export earnings, foreign exchange and employment, Tourism Conference Exhibition will explore tourism opportunities through joint marketing strategy, partnership and linkages. Statistics for both imports and exports in tourism within two countries vary as follows from 2017 up to date. Story compiled by Samuel Kirimunda for Smart 24 TV. Yeah, we all know that such exhibitions, one time I would love Uganda to also have such exhibition with other countries that are doing well in tourism. You see, tourism contributes a lot to our GDP in this country, so we have to learn from other countries. We all hope that these exhibitions that is set to be done in Nairobi will learn more from it. We are going to discuss another story here about cyber security, whereby the current estimates say that Uganda is losing over 15 billion under cyber crime. Therefore, some of the medium enterprises, some of the small and medium enterprises in the country were trained on how to dodge such cyber crimes and financial losses that are done online. Our senior reporter, Naomi Mutumba, made that story in the week, and let us have what he said.
The financial industry is undergoing significant change, from automated teller machines to mobile and online banking, and criminals are not sleeping as they increasingly exploit customers' ignorance to their advantage. According to estimates, cybercrime in Uganda costs the country more than 15 billion shillings a year in non-financial losses, fraud, and data breaches. Experts claim that since then, the number has increased.
I think as the students' body, you either, if you have not already worked on an e-commerce project, you might be working on one, or you have someone working on one. Why? Because in any business, we think about scalability, right? Scalability means that how easy is it for me to sell 1, 2, 3, 10, multiply my sales quickly, and therefore we have to embrace technology. But then you as a young business that is thinking about scaling and therefore embracing e-commerce, you have not considered security. You find a young lady who is selling her shoes online, she has built herself a small e-commerce platform, gets hacked, and her mobile wallet is emptied in a minute.
The Cybersecurity Career Week focuses on interesting the public to pursue careers in cybersecurity that will help small and medium enterprises to build strong systems.
We are working with, we're helping people to appreciate the need for cybersecurity. Our objective is to drive interest and conversations around cybersecurity such that businesses, professionals, individuals can, one, pick interest in cybersecurity, two, start applying the right controls in their businesses to protect themselves, and most importantly, can we start building a culture that can protect ourselves from cybersecurity overall. Why? We are at a time where technology has become a core function of our day-to-day work.
The relevance of this cybersecurity is that it helps to create awareness within the public and also the customers at large to make sure that they are protected in terms of transacting online as well as doing the physical transactions, let's say on ATMs, the POS machines, doing other TGSs. So cybersecurity awareness will also help them to understand the dangers of stealing their money without their knowledge.
Uganda is making progress in its efforts to battle cybersecurity issues, but one of the obstacles is the shortage of professionals in the field, which the Uganda Communications Commission says needs to be fixed.
Considering that I'm going to partake a master's in cybersecurity, this gives me like an insight of what to expect when I go to school. Like there are different things that I actually didn't know, the different terminologies.
Of us were in the field of IT. Most of the things we do are usually software, building software systems. And one of the key things in softwares is security. So if there is no security, then there is no purpose of building softwares, because there are things that can be easily penetrated, like our financial information, our account information, different things that are on the system that we build.
The Computer Misuse Amendment Bill 2022, which President Museveni signed into law, might punish individuals who breach the privacy of others as means of combating cybercrime. However, experts believe that raising awareness is preferable to passing legislation.
Looking at how do we get them inspired into the cybersecurity space. Yes, well, the Computer Misuse Act directly affects and is part of the cybersecurity and data privacy. The act, which came in 2011, was designed to protect users from things like cyberbullying, things like hacking. So in that case, whenever someone is implicated against a Computer Misuse Act for hacking, they would then face a certain amount of time in jail or pay penalties. However, the amendment, to me, really, I would not think of it as something that was necessary. That's my opinion.
The Computer Misuse Act has been updated in light of the development of technology and the rise in cybercrime to reflect these developments, as well as the growing and increasing sophisticated nature of cybercrime. Naomi Mtumba, Smart 24 TV.
It's very crucial to know how cybercrime can affect you financially. Remember here we ran a story where one online betting club, BLQ, stole over 50 trillion, more than that money from Ugandans, and it's very, very prudent to know how those fraudsters work. I learned that even when you're doing your digital transactions, remember you have an application, let's say you have Centenary Bank application, you have Equity application, and you want to transact your money from your application to your mobile money, you have to first switch off your VPN. And very many Ugandans don't know that. Remember, if you do your financial transactions in your phone and when your VPN is still on, you are putting your money at risk, whereby fraudsters can easily hack into your account and take off your money. So that's why within these online financial transactions, cyber crimes, all combined, Ugandans are losing a lot of money. Remember, in the current statistics here, they have just told us that over 15 billion is being lost through cyber crime. And this is why we should be well cognizant over such problems. Getting to another story here, Makerere University students and the public want more apprenticeship and jobs within the oil and gas sector. They think that improving our local content is very important, thinking that maybe if oil and gas people, it's not even maybe, oil and gas sector must employ more of our Ugandans here, and that's how they'll improve on their employment opportunities and maybe have a lot of money to pay in terms of taxes, and this will in turn will lead to economic growth of the country. So this meeting was there and very many people attended. Our reporter had made more details from there.
The oil and gas sector is not a massive employer. 160,000 jobs are created, but there are sectorial linkages that can be put to use.
Of excitement, the youth are going to get jobs, all the unemployed, and so the study revealed that the new jobs that will come about as from these projects are 160,000 jobs only. We are a young population. Over 50% of Uganda's population is under the age of 30. Oil and gas is not a mass employer. And that goes back to the very first question that someone asked: how are we making sure oil and gas contributes to other sectors of the economy? Agriculture employs 80% of the adult population, and then you have tourism and other sectors. So what we are saying is that, number one, not everyone will work in the oil and gas sector directly. Now, what happens to the people that have, that have qualifications, that have studied, etc.? There are opportunities that may come outside Uganda, but the bigger opportunities are under the other sectors that are related to oil and gas. For example, we have Auditor General's Office that is hiring geologists. Why? Because they come in to audit recoverable costs. They come in. So they have to have people that understand. If Total said we needed this equipment, does an auditor understand the importance of this equipment? We have banks that are employing engineers.
We will onboard and will offer, I would say, a 2 years training program for more than 200 people. We'll start with the first batch Q1 next year. There will be a big gathering of all the 220 selected in November. We'll bring them all together to explain them and give them visibility of what's going to happen. There will be a first batch of 1/3 that will start their journey Q1 23. Second batch, I would say end of Q2 and or middle of Q2, and the third batch Q3 23.
We as students and the youth have been encouraged to look out for opportunities from the contractors and the operator companies. There are also various opportunities for local companies from Uganda to actively participate within the industry to be able to enhance the local content and value retention within the country. So this symposium is able to bring that information to us and to everyone outside there to be able to know what are the opportunities that are within the oil and gas industry.
The National Environmental Management Authority approved the environmental site assessments in 2020. These sites are used to describe and assess the potential social, health, human rights, and environmental impacts of a project. The impacts are then minimized or avoided depending on the circumstances, while maximizing and enhancing the project's advantages.
Sensitivity considerations. This site, at least you can see an elephant and petroleum activities happening. These are some of the most sensitive creatures. They do not like to be disturbed. Someone once, I took long, personally I also learned after taking time there, that even if they have big ears, their big ears are for cooling them. They are for fanning and cooling. But if it wants to call its baby, it calls its baby using vibrations in its feet. Okay? So they communicate using their feet. They do not communicate verbally, or the ears are, you see. So when you begin doing your seismic activities, you can affect these creatures. But we need to understand this and know, you see. And so when we understand, we know how to coexist with them. We know how to reduce these impacts. And that's why I said the sensitivity considerations are issues that we needed to know.
An official from ECOP was able to answer some of the environmental controversial questions surrounding the pipeline.
Corridor. One of the reasons we want 30 meters for the construction is the first thing to do is to clear the bush, but then move and store the topsoil on the side of that 30 meters. So we need roughly 5 meters of the 30 meters is to store the topsoil, where we can then put it back when the construction activities are finished. And because we keep the same topsoil that was there in the first place, then the indigenous vegetation can grow back, and so a pipeline is, in my opinion, a low impact environmental activity.
very much for still sticking on Smart 24 television. This is the business edition. My name is Pedison Mumbere. I'll be going in for a commercial break, and when I come back, we'll be discussing issues of climate change. Stay around.